Hello, welcome back, I guess. Hi, I'm Anne. It's nice to see you again, or, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful time. Today is a vlog. Well, it's a vlog week. It's a vlog adventure. Maybe it will be less than a week, maybe more. It's usually about a week. We're starting again because I was gonna wait a couple days, okay? I was gonna give myself a break and some time to not record, but I was writing and I had so many feelings and thoughts I had to record them. Today is a vlog about my sci-fi horror, so we're in the middle of writing it, which is really fun. I think we're about 45,000 words in. I still have to write up a bunch of words, but I basically just wanted to talk. So I'm generally a pantser. I generally lean towards discovery writing. At times I will do outlining and all that stuff, but for the most part I'm a discovery writer, and that a lot of that is for motivation. Oftentimes if I know what's going to happen in my books, I feel like the problem's solved. I feel like it's fixed. I feel like I know what's gonna happen, so why would I even write it? That's a huge reason why I'm a pantser, is just for the motivation value, because I love outlining. I love it so much, but when I finish outlining, I feel like, the problem solves. So unfortunately, it's always a little hard for me once I reach the towards the end of a book, but even if I think I have it all planned out, there's always going to be bits that surprise me and emotional moments that are just wow, I did not see this coming. I had this planned death for someone for probably the past 30,000 words, which is about 5 or 6 months. And it changed in iterations, but it was always going to be this sort of death as a result of this sort of thing. Gone, it's out of here, it's done. I don't know if he's even gonna die anymore. I want to try to kill him off, but if I can't, I can't. I think there's actually a much better way to use him and use the situation that's going on to make something that hits the theme way better. And the theme is really depressing, so I'm not gonna say it because it kind of spoils things. Man, I'm so excited to edit this because I feel like that's where I'm really going to be able to get these themes and this character arc. I'm gonna be able to make it really really precise, which I'm so excited about. And I was writing this and it gets to this point, and this is the first time in this book that the main character has actually let down her guard, has actually lost the masks she puts in place to protect herself. This is the first time she's ever let that down, and it's just it's the perfect time for it to happen. Even if everything goes according to plan with writing a book, which rarely they do, right? Which is part of the fun, but even if they do, there's always these moments, these really wonderful bright surprises, and it sometimes feels when I'm writing a book that I'm also reading it and I'm getting to enjoy it, so it's really wonderful. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. I don't know, I've been feeling really stoked about it recently. I got so much fun stuff done. It was just it was really nice. Interestingly enough, the very first thing I ever wrote for this book, which is not gonna ever be involved in this book, was something from the POV of the antagonist. It was very fun. And I think of that very fondly, though I've probably lost it, but it was very helpful for me to structure how this is gonna play out. So at some points I'm not really sure, because my characters have character arcs that, things happen to them and they get to react as necessary, and sometimes it's downhill, sometimes it's uphill, and my plan for this character was always to have this negative character arc. So it's going nowhere good. But part of the thing is, when I have these themes, a lot of the times there are things that I'm curious about that I want to explore and look into. And I do that through the lens of a character. And so I really want to see, is it going to be a negative character arc? Is it going to be a positive character arc? Is it going to be kind of a mix of both? Self-destructiveness, but also really powerful love and care for people? I don't know. And it's one of those things I'm really curious about. I really want to see how it turns out. So, and that's just not something I'm going to be able to know until I finish this book. And that's really what I need to remember in terms of writing the end of the book. There's always new stuff to learn and explore, because sometimes endings are hard for me. Sometimes I write them and it's just my motivation leaves. I don't know. I'll probably end up crying, because I always do. Anyways, I'll see you probably in a couple days and give you updates on how things have been going. Oh my goodness, I'm a little sick, so we are going to continue existing and doing our best, but that is what's happening. But hello, it's another day. Well, it's probably a couple days. I think I didn't record anything for a while. I don't know why. I think it's just some days it's like that. But I've been writing a whole bunch. You see, this is a new notebook. But look at that. This is all of it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I've been writing a lot. I don't know how many pages this is, but like, you know, it's ongoing, but it's really fun. I'm going through it and they're just such fun characters and it makes it easier to write. I also think when I don't feel very well, like writing becomes like my safety spot, like the thing I do to make myself feel better. It's like a place for me to just hang out. So I've been doing it because of that. It's always a bit more intense when work starts up again. So things have been a bit more intense. Often feels like I have to find these pockets of time, and when I find these pockets of time, I don't want to waste them. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. The thing is, like, I'm setting up all of these things that are just not gonna happen. Usually when like characters have plans and stuff, I don't like explaining the plan and then having the plan go off. I'm gonna just like imply them heavily because like I just don't like talking about plans in books. I don't know, maybe that's a bad thing, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, we're gonna do A plus B plus C. I think it's too much like the technical writing I do, where it's like, hey, these are the steps of what you need to do to make this work, so here you go. So I just don't like doing that in my creative writing because I do that in my technical writing and I can do it in a structured way with like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know? I'm really excited. We're in like a downswing, like with pacing, right? Like the ending for me is always the point where the pacing kind of goes crazy. Yeah, we're in like one of the last downswings, like one of the last downswings in the pacing. And then there's an entire section of stuff that happens, which I have kind of planned, but it's gonna be like, it's like planned in the way you like get information from a dream, where like, you know, you jump from like one position to another, no idea how you get there. I generally know like the steps, but I don't know any of the interlocking bits, which is very important when writing a story. So it's gonna be a really fun adventure to figure out what those interlocking bits are while I'm writing them. I think there will be like one scene of downtime. So we'll see what happens. She might freak out. I don't know. She's got a little bit of anger inside of her and it's very suppressed anger, but like, is it going to come out? I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so, just because the way that she places herself in relationship to the people around her. And also I think if she were around people where she didn't have a strong like emotional bonds with them, I think she would get really angry. I think she would like, her freak out would lean in that direction. But I think because she's surrounded by people she has these really strong bonds with, her freak out is going to end up being self-destructive instead of like externally destructive to other people. So I think that'll be fun. And I don't know how I'm going to make the last section of the book, like the thing I have planned, interesting at all. I mean, it's gonna be a bit spooky because like I just had this idea, I had this feeling, and it was just like, oh my gosh, and I got the shivers and I was like, hopefully I can pull that off. Maybe I can't though, so. But that's what revisions are for. So we're going to attempt to pull it off in the first draft, and then if I fail, I get to go fix it in the second draft. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my story. I am making good progress, I believe. I believe I'm having fun times. I mean, I know I'm having fun times, but I'm really pleased with my progress. I'm gonna try to write a bit more today. I would like to finish a scene. I don't know if it's possible to finish a scene. I think the scene might end up growing and be longer than I expected to, but it would be fun if I could. So we'll just see how it turns out. Update you whenever I come back. Hello, it's me. I've returned. I don't know, I think it's been a few days. I can't remember, but time has passed. But yeah, anyways, I've been making progress, which is really exciting. It's weird, okay? I'm getting to the point in the book where it's like things are just rolling. They're just like hitting things. It feels really intense. It feels so intense. Gosh, I have 23 pages to type up. Whenever I type things up, I always end up expanding stuff, mainly because it's like when I was writing it, I knew what they were thinking, but then when I read it back, I'm like, oh, it's not really clear what they're feeling right now. So I usually add that stuff when I type it up. And sometimes I don't, especially if I'm tired or I just really want to finish it, which might happen with this because oh my gosh, it's gonna be a lot of typing. But we're continuing forward and it's been really odd. I haven't been feeling great, so take this all with a grain of salt. I haven't really felt like writing very much, but then when I start writing, it's like I'm in it and I'm just like writing and I'm writing and it just like flows out. And that is usually not the way it is. Usually it's the opposite, where like I really want to write but I can't think of the words. There's like 3 more big beats to go before the story ends, and one of the beats I'm not sure about. So one of the characters has kind of disappeared at this point in the book. he's like devastated. He's like broken apart about it and he just like disappears. I want to make it a thing so that something that he has done while being missing is going to be part of what like propels them. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it'll be really fun and I really want him to be involved, but I want him to also survive. I'm getting deja vu, so I have a suspicion I've already talked about. Self-cut. I'm really curious how long this is gonna end up being. I won't know until I finish it. It's gotten like, oh my gosh, it's just like so spooky at this point. I feel like I'm gonna scare myself a bit like in this next scene. Maybe that's why I like don't feel like I want to write. And then when I write, it just comes out because it's like, I know I'm gonna scare myself. I know one of these future scenes, they're gonna make me all wiggly wobbly inside and I'm gonna have maybe nightmares about it. And I think that'll be so much fun. It'll like haunt me, dude. I'm very pleased. But yeah, anyway, so my goal is I'm going to be writing today. It's Sunday, of course I'm gonna write. It's snowy outside, I am not going to leave. I'm just gonna write. Maybe I'll play some games. Gosh, I don't even know when I'm going to type this up. I feel like I'm on such a roll that I just don't want to type it up until I get stuck. But I'm not stuck yet, so we're gonna keep writing. And then we're going to probably have something slightly untenable to type up, and that's okay. I'm alright with that. Mostly I am slowly but surely running out of pens that are red or like red adjacent. But yeah, anyways, thanks for hanging out. I will see you probably maybe later today. Hello. I've returned. My hair is like so staticky today. It's so crazy. But anyways, I've been writing a little bit, so I actually had a period where I was kind of stuck and it was a little sad. I was going so well. I was going forward, moving on and making progress, and then I got very much like stuck a bit. But I just like kind of forced myself through the scene while like thinking about it and trying to figure out why. And I realized after I like about halfway through the scene, but I finished the scene anyways because why not? I like having scenes that even if I don't use them, they're just like useful to have, like just to be like, oh, this is what progress I made, this is what I did, this is very helpful. And it's also just nice to have extra places where I have space to figure out the characters and what I want to happen and sort of that sort of stuff. But anyways, I realized that this entire scene that I've been writing, I don't need it. I don't need it at all. So what it does is it kind of slows down the pacing for this act. But not only that, it's like I've been building up to like this point where things really get started. So it hit that point with this like interaction in this scene, and it hit that point, and then this point, like this scene itself is kind of slower. It doesn't feel like it fits with the pacing, and as a result what happens is you're like leaning in, and then you are about to fall, you're about to go into it, and then it just stops you. You drop like a little bit and it stops you again and you have to wait again, and that's never like the most fun experience. But the way I'm thinking about it is it's kind of like and then you have a little bit, you know, in terms of like pacing. This scene was just slowing down the pacing, but I went through and I wrote it all because I find it useful to kind of like finish these things. But now that I've finished it, I know that I don't want that scene there anymore, and I know exactly how I want to change it, because there's like this one moment in this scene which is like really scary for me personally. I don't know if it'd be scary for anybody else, but it was for me. And so I was kind of building up to that scene, that moment of like absolute like, oh no, what's happening? And then it got there and the tension kept building, and I felt like that additional building of tension was not necessary. I felt like we were at the point where we could just run it down, and yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it will end up being a lot better. But regardless, that's where we're at right now. I am at the end of the scene that I'm gonna delete. I actually really want to go through and type this up, but there's so much to type up, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. Like, I'm pretty sure I have about, I think I probably have 5,000, 6,000 words to type up. That's gonna be a lot. But anyways, I'll see you next week and have a good rest of your day. Bye.